The PS5 Pro is here and it's enhancing over 80 games. So today we're breaking down each and every one of the PS5 Pro Enhanced games that's confirmed so far, with over 30 new games included since we last covered this on the channel. Not all of these will be available from the launch window, some are coming at a later date, but we have so many games to cover here today. So hello everyone, my name is Aiden, this is Push Square, and let's get into it. We're starting off with Alan Wake 2, and the big inclusion here is ray tracing, something not available on the base PS5 version. Of course, you're getting improvements to visual quality and image stability in both quality and performance modes, with the quality mode running at 30 FPS with ray traced reflections, and performance running at 60 FPS with a significantly higher output resolution and more visual detail. Albatroz is next up, a backpacking game where you venture off to a mystical mountain in search of your brother. No details as to how it's being enhanced, but it has been confirmed. Again, another one with no concrete info, Apex Legends. I'm imagining this one's going to be looking at 120 FPS for the PS5 Pro, at least that's what I'm hoping. Arken Age is one of the few VR games on this list. Again, not many details at this point, but it does look really cool. I feel like Assassin's Creed Mirage is quite often forgotten about in this series, but for those looking for a back to basics Assassin's Creed experience, it now runs at 4K 60 with PSSR and graphical enhancements. Delayed into 2025, Assassin's Creed Shadows will hopefully reap the benefits of this Pro upgrade with a highly detailed recreation of feudal Japan. An upcoming cartoon-styled horror game, Bad Cheese is still a little bit away, but it's been confirmed for a PS5 Pro enhancement. One of the best games of 2023 is getting the Pro treatment, now running at 4K and 60 FPS. I've still not checked out Baldur's Gate 3, so maybe it's time to do that. An often overlooked sci-fi horror, this upgrade to the Callisto Protocol will be a welcome inclusion, although strangely it isn't landing on the PS5 Pro launch, with this upgrade scheduled after November 7th. A game with so many brilliant performance capabilities already, I'm really keen to see how Black Ops 6 will improve with a Pro enhancement. The Crew Motorfest is getting the Pro treatment with PSSR upscaled to 4K 60 with one single Pro mode. That's increasing the load distances and shadow distances as well, which is apparently difficult to tell at speed, but I have to say the base performance mode in this looks quite muddy, so I'm really looking forward to that 4K 60. Cyube VR is a survival Minecraft-like VR game. It's getting a PS5 Pro enhancement, so hopefully your builds are looking better than ever. You're going to be looking out for all of those grisly gory details with Dead Island 2's flesh system as you tear zombies apart with a myriad of post-apocalyptic weapons. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster is amping this recent release that little bit more with a Pro Enhanced upgrade. We're looking at enhanced details with Demon Souls, which again is 4K PSSR at 60 frames per second. Diablo IV is already a great looking game and not one I entirely expected to be included in the Pro lineup, but it's in my regular chill gaming time rotation, so I'm happy with this upgrade. Some seem to hate it, some love it, but regardless, Dragon Age The Veilguard is adding a layer of shine to its inviting fantasy world with a lovely Pro upgrade. A welcome sharpening of details thanks to PSSR and a far more stable frame rate at around 60 frames per second. Dragon's Dogma 2 is one of those games that felt like it needed a Pro upgrade when it launched earlier this year. One to look forward to, Dynasty Warrior Origins will receive a Pro boost when it launches in 2025. A solid zombie slaying experience, Dying Light 2 sure was a looker when it launched in 2022, but almost 3 years since its launch, developer Techland is polishing things up a little bit more with this upgrade. And it has actually been very positive about the ways in which the PS5 Pro will help improve its upcoming game, Dying Light the Beast. I'm ramping a bunch of sports titles together here. We've got EA Sports College Football 25, EA Sports FC 25, and Madden NFL 25, all receiving Pro enhancements. A classic tower defense game mixed in with roguelite and RPG mechanics and a little bit of PvP, Elemental War Clash is set to receive Pro enhancements. A platformer and a real-time strategy game blended into one, Empire of the Ants lets you control an ant, and the PS5 Pro aims to make it all sparklier with bumped resolution and frame rate. Enlisted is a first-person online World War II shooter that's hoping to improve its experience with the help of the PS5 Pro. The infinite reaches of space are hoping to get a visual glow-up in Everspace 2 with the PS5 Pro. Formula 1 24 is one of those hallmark releases that Sony has really been showcasing with the PS5 Pro. It's set to get a quality mode featuring on-track ray tracing using PSSR, a performance mode running at 4K 120 on supporting screens, and even a new 8K 60Hz resolution mode. The Finals is a game that I play all of the time, and I can't wait to see how this one is improved, with my big hope of course being 120Hz. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a muddy looking game in performance mode on the base PS5, and with the help of PSSR, it is increasing its visual quality whilst maintaining that 60 frames per second. This is going to be a big one for the Pro. Fears to Fathom Ironbark Lookout is a spooky walking sim experience with a blend of narrative and VHS aesthetic and an episodic structure. It's getting a Pro enhancement as well. The popular looter shooter The First Descendants is hoping to smooth out those frame rates with a Pro enhanced version. Now, I'm not even sure how you improve Fortnite technically, because this is already a brilliant looking and running game, but who's to deny a graphical and performance improvement welcomed by the PS5 Pro. God of War Ragnarok is getting a new quality mode running at 60 frames per second on top of a high frame rate mode for VRR displays and the implementation of PSSR as an upscaler. Gran Turismo 7 is another one of these hallmark games for Sony with an 8K mode, a 4K 120 mode, ray tracing implementations. This is going to be a looker. Helldivers 2 is set to receive a Pro update, although details are a little sparse at this time, but I would imagine we're looking at PSSR upscaled 4K at 60 frames per second. Hogwarts Legacy will feature a fidelity mode with ray tracing, utilising the large bodies of water and of course shadows. It's going to have better visual clarity thanks to PSSR on all modes, primarily performance mode. Horizon Forbidden West will receive a new upscaling and anti-aliasing algorithm to maintain the resolution of quality mode whilst bumping the frame rate to 60 frames per second. There will also be a number of improvements to skin and hair rendering, volumetric sampling for better god rays, and rendering to holograms, fire, smoke and water. And Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered is pretty much receiving the same upgrades, maintaining the higher frame rates and clearer resolutions. Kayak VR Mirage is getting a big bump to clarity with 8K textures, increased dynamic resolution, upgrades to post-processing, effects, detail quality and anti-aliasing. I can't wait to see how this one looks. Still to launch on the PS5, Killing Floor 3 is a frenetic first-person co-op shooter and likely a solid pick to receive some technical improvements from the Pro. Both The Last of Us Part 1 Remake and The Last of Us Part 2 Remaster will include a new Pro mode which renders the game internally at 1440p, upscales it to 4K via PSSR and maintains 60 frames per second. Lies of P is a gothic clockwork Souls-like which is getting a bump to frame rate and visuals across its performance and quality mode. Launching in 2025, you've even more reason to look forward to Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Lords of the Fallen is a great looking game on the PS5, but the frame rate was a little shaky. Now we've got 4K 60 with sharper and refined details in performance mode and a native 4K 30 mode. Marvel Rivals is the free-to-play Overwatch-like experience with your favourite Marvel superheroes, and it's boosting things with a Pro version. Now we're lumping a bunch of Marvel Spider-Man games together, namely Spider-Man Remastered, Spider-Man Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 will include a Fidelity Pro and Performance Pro modes, with the former targeting 30 FPS with new ray tracing features like ambient occlusion and key lighting shadows. The latter will maintain the 60 FPS whilst bringing image quality up to the level of Fidelity mode on base PS5 thanks to PSSR. It will also include ray tracing, but of course not quite to the same degree. Insomniac keep things on a roll with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which is gaining a Fidelity Pro and Performance Pro mode, hitting the same benchmarks as Spider-Man 2. That means 30 FPS with new ray tracing features and fidelity, and 60 FPS, PSSR increased resolution and basic ray tracing. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is already a technical showcase from what we've seen of the game so far, but this remake is hoping to take things a bit further with the Pro. A traversal and melee focused battle royale, Naraka Blade Point will be running at 4K 60 thanks to the PS5 Pro. NBA 2K25 is a gorgeous game on PS5 with some fantastic character models and animation. Now the game will feature ray tracing in the city and use PSSR to enhance the image quality. No Man's Sky is getting a big update thanks to the Pro with 4K 60 support and even 8K 30 support. There are also big upgrades on the way for PSVR 2 with as much as a 300% increase in the visual clarity. Outbreak Shades of Horror Chromatic Split is a prequel taster for an upcoming zombie horror experience, and it's getting the PS5 Pro treatment. Paladin's Passage is a 2.5D precision platformer set in a medieval world. Can't say that it looks like one that will convince anyone on the Pro, but who can deny some extra power? Pokemon with Guns is up next. That means the worldwide sensation that is Pal World, which launched not too long ago on the PS5, is already set to get an upgrade with the PS5 Pro. Planet Coaster 2 is all about designing and managing the best theme park ever, but this time with added water park features and added power with the Pro. Professional Baseball Spirits 2024 to 2025. I have never even heard of this series, but it's getting a Pro update aligning with the series' 20th anniversary. A weird sci-fi action horror game here, but Quantum Error has a PS5 Pro patch in development. Resident Evil 4 Remake actually does run at 60 frames per second with 4K on the base PS5, but now we're supposedly getting upwards of 100 FPS with hair physics and ray tracing off, and 70 plus with ray tracing and hair physics on. That's quite the nice boost there. Village goes even further with supposedly 4K resolution at 120 frames per second. I mean, that's crazy. Sticking with horror, we also have Retrieval, an upcoming narrative experience yet to arrive on PS5, but when it does, it'll have a Pro version. A relatively rough looking game on launch in my opinion, Rise of the Ronin has received improved visuals and frame rates, but supposedly still isn't hitting a solid 60 frames per second. Rogue Flight is an arcade space game inspired by 80s and 90s anime. It's getting a Pro patch. Silent Hill 2 is next up. Hopefully we're going to see a bump to frame rate and quality mode because the performance mode itself was quite murky. I played most of Silent Hill 2 in 4K 30 just because I preferred the clarity. Hopefully this will be sorted with the PS5 Pro patch, although early reports are suggesting that PSSR implementation isn't working too great with this title. Going from Silent Hill to the creator of Silent Hill's new game, Slitterhead, is a surprise announcement for the PS5 Pro. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is getting a base resolution bump with ray traced elements included in the quality mode and the performance mode, which runs at 60 FPS, although I've heard there are some issues with image quality here. Same could be said for Star Wars Outlaws, although it's seemingly going the route of the PS exclusives with a best of both worlds Pro mode. Shift Up Sci-Fi Slasher is getting the Pro treatment with a 4K 50 FPS plus fidelity mode, but I've seen some posts saying that it goes a lot higher if you have a VRR display. Coming out towards the end of November, Towers of Agasba lets you restore your homeland with a big focus on ecology and wildlife. The recent racer Test Drive Solar Crown is supposedly getting a Pro patch, but details are actually a little murky on this one. UFC 5 was released last year, but it's giving you reason to revisit with a PS5 Pro enhancement. With a lacking 30 FPS mode on launch, the PS5 Pro enhancement of Until Dawn sees the introduction of a 60 frames per second mode, but this will actually also be available now on the base PS5. Warframe is the free-to-play looter shooter, and it's getting the Pro treatment just in time for the launch of its $19.99 expansion. Very recently announced for a release on PS5, Warhammer 40k Darktide is the grimdark co-op shooter that's getting a PS5 Pro enhancement. War Thunder was one of the earliest Pro enhanced announcements, and it's going to let you battle various tanks, planes, ships, and so on. And finally, in a very similar vein to War Thunder, we have World of Warships Legends, where you master the helms of history's greatest warships. So there you have 81 different games all announced for the PS5 Pro, some out already, some on their way at a later date. Obviously, I expect plenty to be announced in the months after the PS5 Pro launch. Knowing my luck, a bunch will get announced just as soon as I publish this video, so keep an eye out for that, but we've already got a solid selection of games. Let me know the ones that you are most looking forward to play on the Pro down below. I think the finals is probably one I'm really keen to see, but also plenty of single player games like Silent Hill 2. Anyway, thanks for watching everyone, and until next time, I've been Aaron, and this has been Push Square.